Juan Soto signed a massive deal with the Mets in the offseason. We are a month and change. I mean, almost 2 months into his first season of many, 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 many more with the Metropolitans, and you start to hear things. So it's not just reports, it's also his manager. Soto admired what he thought was a homer, ended up being a single. Mendy said, quote, he thought he had it in this ballpark with that wall right there. You got to get out of the box. We'll discuss that. Then you have a report from Bob Clappish, longtime New York reporter, NJ.com, who basically said that the Mets are concerned with his lack of enthusiasm. I mean, within this article from Bob, it's like the man is downright miserable. Although Soto said he was ready for the homecoming, he was shell-shocked by the time Sunday night rolled around for the Subway Series. 3 sellout crowds broke him. Basically writing in this article how it seemed like the only time he was happy was saying what's good to Judge, Boone, Jazz. Met Yankee in your life. What do you got for me here?
Listen, I usually don't agree with these reports that people put on there, and I think Bob Clappish, right? I didn't want to say his name wrong. The Mets hierarchy was probably concerned Juan Soto's lack of enthusiasm. I don't know about anybody else. I see it a little bit. I see it. The energy, the enthusiasm. He didn't hustle out a ball. Okay, got it. He didn't. There was a like a check swing hard hit in the hole that he didn't really hustle hard to first base in the Yankee series. Okay, all right. Let's fix it right now. Let's nip it in the bud right now. Like, was it? In my opinion, maybe this series he was excited for, and all of a sudden, like, the Boo Birds were out. They turned their back to him in the outfield. I don't care who you are. You could be the strongest of men or ladies in the world. Inside, doesn't feel good to get, that type of feeling towards somebody, especially when you've been there and the fans loved you and enjoyed you. It's gonna play a little bit in your head. I don't care who you are, and I think it did a little bit. Do I think he's gonna be fine? Of course, but yeah, just get out there and show a little more energy. That's all, and be that happy-go-lucky team guy that he is. And I'm not saying he's bad or there's something wrong with him, but you just see a little bit of change, in my opinion.
I mean, it's also the lowest OPS he's had in his career so far. If he were to end the season today, it's the lowest. I'm not saying Juan is happy hit guy, but maybe that energy comes back when he starts doing well. And if you're like, well, he's got to be a team player. This is a first-place team. Like, he's got to be – look, you signed 765 million reasons of why you're getting a superstar. If you expect him to be something that you're not 100% sure he was going to be, you have to temper your expectations. This guy is going to produce on the field. Now, do you not see it? Maybe, maybe the people that said this, lack of energy, maybe they can put their name to it and not just be like, Mets hierarchy. So I would appreciate that. But I'm on Todd's boat too. Like, he's not doing the Soto shuffle. That was brought up quite a bit by Eddie Perez. Sometimes when you're not feeling great at the plate, you don't have that extra swag. You don't have that extra oomph. And ultimately, Mendy might say, hey, we need you to run out of the box just because that's how the whole team is going to be. Does he get to second on that? Does he get to second? I mean, Duran doesn't have a great arm, but he one-hop barehanded that and threw it into second, which is 120 feet away from where he was. So, I don't know.
You're going to get scrutiny. Hey, remember Robinson Cano? Mm-hmm. Don't think about the PD juicing stuff. I'm just talking about him sometimes taking his time heading to first. He was just a very calm, cool, smooth player. And sometimes it rubbed people the wrong way. And yet you would look, and now again, we don't know anything because it's clouded by PEDs. But the narrative on the other side for a while was he plays every day. So how critical are we going to get when he puts up the numbers he's putting up and he's playing the games he's going to play?
I just think he needs to get back to that mindset, like Kratzy says, the happy-go-lucky, take the pitch, look at the pitcher. He had, when he struck out twice, those last 2 times he struck out, it was like a cheeky smile. Like, it was like, trying to, sometimes maybe he tried a little too hard. You know what I mean? the guy is an unbelievable player. He's a great hitter. He can play the game. He's just a monster of a guy that every team wants. But you see slight little differences, and that's part of the ups and downs of a season. And I think people need to understand that too as well. He's in a new situation. The Mets and Yankees are polar opposite teams. Okay, I've played for both of them. I understand both. I understand both clubhouses. I understand, how these teams play, and it's just a different beast. And there's nothing wrong with it. He just has to find his happy place and keep on rocking. I would take his stats if I was playing.
For sure. I'd take those stats for a week. But anyway, he's going to be under a microscope the whole time.
Yeah.
That can be draining. It cannot be draining, whatever. He wanted to be the man. I get it. Here's the thing. In your career, in a baseball player's career, there's pretty much 4 major milestones. Signing professionally, making the big leagues, getting to your contract status, and for the really good players, Hall of Fame. Juan Soto's so far from the Hall of Fame. He's already accomplished all those things. If the Mets hierarchy, which is kind of doo-doo for them to just say these words and then not put their name behind it. But anyway, if the Mets hierarchy truly believes he has lackluster attitude or just engagement, enthusiasm, to me, it's their job to make sure he sees that last goal come to fruition of making the Hall of Fame. Because it is a long way away. And he could be like, you know what? Like, I don't know that I can keep this energy up. They got to put people around them to keep that energy up if they believe this is what's going on. Because Lindor wants to be a Hall of Famer, so they have that. And you have to motivate your stars in different ways than you motivate your 25th or 26th men guys.
Scott, you need to check out this Roback hoodie I have. It's 85 plus degrees here in Florida. Look, lightweight, feels great, cool colors. Perfect for those hot Florida days.
I agree, AJ. Color looks fire. And you can get your own sweatshirt, polo, hoodie. Go check out Roback. And if you do and you're a first-time customer, Roback.com using the code FOUL gets you 20% off your first purchase. RHOBACK.com, code FOUL. Get after it, FT fam. He's got the biggest contract ever. I'm sure he would like to prove that he was worth the money at some point over the course of his career. He's going to want to rack up another World Series title. I will counter and say the Mets had oodles of enthusiasm last year, and they still do. So I don't know how much this is on the Mets clubhouse right now, Kratz. I mean, Lindor is fun clubhouse. And it's got all the vibes. You're just saying they have to keep him up. Like, hey, dude, we need you. We need you to be the guy and be all skippity.
Because we're only going on an unnamed source. We're only going on somebody who hasn't said this. Like, I don't know. I just
think one more piece.
Go ahead.
He's a professional, man. He knows what to do, and I know Kratz knows that too as well. It gets to you, bro. You just had the Subway Series. This is like World Series type crap, honestly.
Yeah.
For lack of a better word, when you play against a New York team for Mets Yankees, the expectations go out the roof. You can't even see my arm. That's how high they are.
They are screaming at you 24/7,
exactly,
saying hurtful things, and you have to play through it.
Most likely.
Yeah. I mean, they weren't saying nice things.
No,
and sometimes, most like you say, a lot of stuff's funny, but they're at them.
You laugh at the first couple, and then as it goes on for 3 games, you're like, damn.
Yeah.
They used to like me. They really don't like, especially out there in the outfield. And I saw guys flipping them off after he struck out double bird.
And they were like doing it with passion too. It wasn't just like, we don't like you. It was like, we really don't like you. You are our villain now.
Welcome back to New York. Welcome back to the Bronx, I should say. Wow.
Yeah. One more piece, because I just want to give my journalism perspective here. So apparently he agreed to be mic'd up by ESPN in the second inning, changed his mind minutes before the game, said he was tired of answering questions about Aaron Judge, sick of explaining why he chose the Mets. And then it said in this article, he also did that to reporters. They were waiting to speak to him post-game clubhouse, got dressed, began walking towards the door, told a Mets official he'd be back to answer questions after seeing family members outside, never returned. Not cool, but at least from my experience covering the game, Kratz happens all the time. Now, if he does that every single day, okay, but the amount of times I could tell you a guy was going to come back and he didn't or something popped up, hundreds. for me at least, and not just me, people around me, right, when I was on the road. So, I mean, I've sat in a manager's office for an hour and a half while he did a full workout and was just like, oh, I'll be there in a sec. And it's an hour and a half later. You probably know who it is.
I can guess who that was.
Yeah. So anyway, that stuff happens, Kratz.
But I don't mean to interrupt, Kratz. That's part of the psyche going on, right? Dude, I got to talk to reporters. I got to make sure I get my stuff in here. Yeah, there's pressures. And I know he said, no pressure for me. This series was pressure-filled. And, we saw the Yankees took 2 out of 3. And most likely should have swept them at the end of the day, but they didn't.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't want people to say this stuff about you, show up at your locker and talk, because then you can refute it. Then you can explain it.
Especially in New York.
Yep. That's why if you're someone else and you do that, there's no story on it. If you do that and you're him, someone's going to put that in a story. That's just the weight of being a superstar and the highest paid player in sports.
Hey, everybody. Be sure to like and subscribe for more content.
We're back here every weekday, all year long, so do not miss an episode.
The videos are coming in all day. Here's another video you might enjoy.
Baseball the way it should be covered.